So that SEO playbook you thought you had mastered? I hate to break it to you, but it's time to toss it out. Because what worked yesterday, even what's working today, is becoming obsolete right before our eyes. The rulebook for search isn't just changing, it's been completely torn up and rewritten for 2026.
And this really makes you stop and ask, right? Is your strategy actually built for the future of search, or is it basically a relic from a much simpler time? Because the ground beneath our feet has fundamentally shifted, and there's a huge gap opening up between the old way and the new way.
And here is the first major bombshell. A whopping 60% of all searches in the US now feature these AI overviews. You know, that AI-generated answer that sits right at the very top of the page? Yeah, that's completely changing how people find information online.
And it's not just how we're getting answers that's changing, it's what we're searching for. Almost half of all searches, 46%, now have local intent. People are adding phrases like "in Austin" or "near me." Your physical proximity to the customer is becoming one of the most powerful ranking factors, period. Okay, and this one might actually break your brain a little bit. Over half of all searches are now zero-click. That means the user gets their answer directly on the results page and never even visits a website. So how in the world do you win if nobody is clicking through? So how do we fight back? How do we adapt? Well, our first new rule is all about owning your local territory. It's time to stop thinking globally for a minute and start focusing on winning your own backyard with a strategy we call GEO, or Geographic SEO.
So what is GEO, really? It's all about fine-tuning your entire online footprint, your website, your social media, your directory listings, to show up for those super valuable local searches. For any business with a physical address or a service area, this isn't a nice-to-have anymore. It's absolutely mandatory.
I love this slide because it shows just how much our own search habits have evolved. You know, a few years ago, we just typed plumber. Now it's plumber in Austin. And by 2026, it's emergency plumber near me open now. We don't just want an answer, we want a solution to our immediate problem, right where we are.
So what's the game plan for GEO? Well, it really boils down to these core tactics. You need specific landing pages for every single location you serve. You have to become a master of your Google business profile. Your name, address, and phone number need to be consistent everywhere online. And you need to create content that speaks directly to specific neighborhoods, maybe even down to the zip code. All right, on to our second pillar, and this one requires a whole new way of thinking. See, the old days of trying to trick an algorithm, they're over. Now it's about communicating directly with the new gatekeeper of information, the AI. We have to learn how to feed the AI, and we do that with something called AEO. AEO, or Answer Engine Optimization, is a total game changer. Your goal isn't just to rank #1 in the blue links anymore. No, the real prize now is to be the source for the AI's answer, to have your content featured right inside that AI overview box at the very top. So how does that actually work? Well, just look at the difference here. The old way was to write these long, flowery introductions that build suspense. The AEO way? Give the direct answer in the very first paragraph. You deliver value right away, which, it turns out, is exactly what busy humans and hungry AI models are looking for. So how do you actually do this? Well, there are a few non-negotiables. You use a special kind of code called schema to basically flag your questions and answers for the AI. You put a too long didn't read summary right at the top of your articles. And you use structured data everywhere to explicitly tell Google what your content is about, leaving absolutely nothing to chance. And that brings us to our third and final pillar. Now, I need you to stick with me here because this one feels like it breaks every rule we've ever learned. We're going to talk about how to succeed when the goal might not even be to get a click. Welcome to the zero-click world. Just let that sink in for a second. More than half the time, somebody searches for something, they find what they need, and they're gone. The search is over. This completely flips the script on how we measure success, because traditional website traffic is no longer the only thing that matters. This means you need a totally new playbook. The old goal was simple: get the click, drive the traffic. The new goal: build brand authority, become the recognized expert in your field. So we're shifting from measuring click-through rate to measuring impression share, which is just a fancy way of asking, how often is our brand simply being seen? So the strategy becomes this. You optimize to just be seen. You build a brand that's so strong and recognizable that people remember you even if they don't click. And then you get really smart with your advertising, remarketing to people who saw your answer,
so you can catch them later on when they're finally ready to make a move.
Okay, so we've got these three powerful new pillars: GEO, AEO, and a zero-click strategy. But what does that actually look like when you put it all together? Let's use a real-world example to see how this modern playbook comes to life.
Take a look at the incredible synergy here. This dental practice in Austin, they're investing in paid ads for quick results and traditional SEO for that long-term organic growth. But the absolute game changer is when they layer in that geo strategy. Look at that. It pulls in over 75 free high-intent local leads every single month. The magic isn't in any one channel. It's how they all work together.
And the secret ingredient holding all of this together is proving your expertise. You do this through a technique called content clustering. Basically, you pick a big pillar topic, say real estate CRM, and then you brainstorm 20 or 30 related subtopics. You create one massive, ultimate guide as your pillar, and then you write detailed articles for each subtopic and link them all together. It's how you signal to Google that you are the authority.
At the end of the day, that's what this all boils down to. Winning in search in 2026 and beyond isn't going to be about who has the biggest budget. It's going to be about who has the smartest strategy. It's about outthinking the competition. It's about being smarter with local, smarter with AI, and smarter about building your brand even without the click. The only question left is, are you ready to be the smartest strategist in your market?